Hello, my name is Cheyenne and I am a health education student at the University of Florida. Today I will be presenting Chapter 8 from Planning, Implementing, and Evaluating Health Promotion Programs. In this chapter, we will discuss the main intervention strategies that should be used in a health promotion program. It is important to know all of these strategies because more than one should be used for a promotion program to have optimal results. By the end of this presentation, you will have a clear understanding of interventions. We will have an interactive activity at the end to reinforce the information that will be covered in this lecture. Let's get started. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to define interventions and identify 6 main intervention strategies of health promotion programs. Identify the 4 types of communication channels, list the steps of a lesson framework for a health education strategy, explain the 6 phases of policymaking, recognize the 6 types of environments that can be influenced by environmental change strategies, list 3 examples of health-related community service strategies, name and define the 2 branches of community mobilization strategies, and distinguish the difference between incentives and disincentives. An intervention is a theory-based strategy or experience to which those in the priority population will be exposed to or in which they will take part in. Interventions are also referred to as treatments. It is important to choose activities that would be most effective and efficient when creating intervention strategies. There are 2 terms that can be used to describe an intervention: dose and multiplicity. Dose is the number of program units that are delivered. For example, how many times a class is offered. Multiplicity is the number of components or activities that make up an intervention. This could include educational classes or television public service announcements. There are 6 main types of health education strategies that we will discuss during this lecture. This includes health communication strategies, health education strategies, health policy and enforcement strategies, environmental change strategies, health-related community service strategies, and community mobilization strategies. Health communication strategies are used to inform and influence individual and community decisions that affect health. Because they reach many goals and objectives of health promotion programs, they are used in all programs. They have been shown to create awareness of an issue, change attitude towards a health behavior, encourage and motivate individuals to follow recommended behavior changes, increase demand and support for services, and help build social norms. In addition, this method has the highest penetration rate, which means that it reaches more individuals of the priority population. It is also cost-effective and less threatening than other strategies. Its weakness is that by itself, it is rarely sufficient enough to change behavior and reduce the risk of disease, so it must be paired with other strategies. Because of new technology, the communication model has become more complex. The sender sends a top-down message to the consumer. The consumer creates a bottom-up message. The consumer also shares the message horizontally, and lastly, the consumer seeks information. The multi-directional communication model displays the consumer not only receives information, but actively seeks, develops, and shares information. This differs from the old model, where there was only a message sent between the sender and the receiver. A communication channel is a route through which a message is disseminated to the priority population. In order to decide which channel to use, you must first determine the place setting of the priority population. For example, if your setting is at home, you can use a telephone or mass media via television. The first type of communication channel is interpersonal. This is one-on-one communication. When using intrapersonal communication, it is important to tailor your program for that individual. Tailoring a program means to use a combination of information or strategies for one person based on their characteristics and desired outcomes. The next channel is interpersonal, which includes support groups and small classes. This channel is beneficial because it reaches a large number of people with fewer resources. Community or organization channels are a great way to reach a priority population because they are usually already comprised of existing groups. Examples of this are religious organizations or workers from a specific company. Lastly, mass media is the most visible communication channel. It can influence people directly or indirectly. Examples of mass media include billboards, TV commercials, and local newspapers. We are now going to watch a short commercial that is an example of a mass media ad. This commercial is from the Tobacco-Free Florida program, which was created to encourage people to quit smoking. They have ads in magazines and televisions to reach a wider audience. Do you think this ad is effective? Why? The next intervention strategy is health education strategies. Health education strategies are any planned combination of learning experiences designed to predispose, enable, and reinforce voluntary behavior decisions conducive to health in individuals, groups, and communities. Health education strategies provide knowledge and skills to the learners in a more formal education setting. These settings include classes, seminars, workshops, and courses. Important terms to know in order to create a health education program include curriculum, scope, sequence, units of study, lessons, and lesson plan. Curriculum is a planned set of lessons or courses designed to lead competence in an area of study. This will be the base that the program will follow. The scope is the breadth and depth of material that is covered in the program. Sequence refers to the order in which material is presented. Units of study are activities that are designed to meet a set of objectives. Lessons are the amount of information presented during a single class. These lessons are outlined in a lesson plan. All lessons created should follow a specific framework. The framework for application to health promotion programs begins with gaining the attention of your audience. This includes conveying health threats and benefits of your topic. The second step is to present stimulus material, which means to tailor the message to the audience's knowledge and values, demonstrate observable effectiveness, and make behaviors easy to understand and do. Providing guidance means to use trustworthy models to demonstrate the behavior. Eliciting performance and providing feedback is to enhance trainability and develop proficiency and self-efficacy. Lastly, enhance retention and transfer means to provide social support and deliver behavioral cues. Health policies or enforcement strategies include executive orders, laws, ordinances, judicial decisions, policies, regulations, rules, and position statements. These strategies are mandated or regulated. They use incentives, disincentives, and requirements to encourage or discourage actions of individuals, organizations, institutions, or communities. The 6 phases of policymaking can be adapted and applied to the creation of any health policy or enforcement strategy for a health promotion program. Agenda setting is determining what the health problem is, analyzing whether the problem can be solved with a health policy, and identifying evidence to show the strategy will work. Policy formulation is where the policy is developed and fine-tuned. Policy adoption takes place when the authorities, individual, or group approves the policy. In the policy implementation stage, human and financial resources must be assembled for the policy to work. The policy assessment phase assures that the policy is being followed and is effective in accomplishing the goal. Lastly, policy modification is used to determine whether the policy should be maintained, modified, or eliminated. Environmental change strategies are used to remove barriers in the environment to provide opportunities, support, and cues to help people make healthy lifestyle changes. These strategies are used to make healthier choices the easier choice. Physical, economic, service, social, cultural, and political environment are all used when utilizing environmental change strategies. For example, if there is a strategy to create a smoke-free workplace, there would be a city ordinance to ban smoking in the workplace, signs to indicate no smoking, elimination of ashtrays, and smoking cessation programs. Some of these strategies are forced choices, which means that there are a selection of only healthy snacks in the cafeteria, but they still get to choose which ones they'd like to eat. This strategy should be paired with other intervention strategies to be more effective. Health-related community service strategies are services, tests, treatments, or care to improve the health of the priority population. Examples of this include health risk assessments, flu shots or immunizations, and biometric screening. It is important to be mindful of the affordability and accessibility of the services because the priority population must have the ability to take action. These strategies are often used in grocery stores, shopping malls, health fairs, personal residencies, and mobile clinics. Community mobilization strategies help communities identify and take action on shared concerns using participatory decision-making. There are two different subcategories of community mobilization strategies: community organization and building, and community advocacy. Community organization is where the community groups are helped to identify common problems or goals. It is important for health promotion specialists to work with the community because having ties with the community will establish trust. It also helps to better determine the needs of the community because there are residents who face the issues and have more insight than health education specialists. With the help of community, it is easier to develop and implement strategies to reach goals based off their needs. Community building is orienting the community to be strength-based rather than needs-based. This means working together to identify stress, encourage nurturing, and celebrating the community assets. Community advocacy is where people of the community become involved with the decisions that will have an impact on their lives. It is important to have community advocacy because people that live in the community are the only ones who truly understand what health disparities lie within their neighborhood. Community advocacy has many benefits, including creating more support for changes and keeping people of the community informed of the changes that are being made. Having community advocacy can also motivate non-participants to be active to make people, plans, and programs more responsive. Ways that the community can advocate for health and health education include influencing voting behavior. This means to educate others on the changes that should be made and persuade them to support those changes. The second way that is electioneer, which means to take an active part in the election process. Direct lobbying is trying to reach the decision makers directly. Grassroots lobbying means to reach out to the public and encourage them to make contact with decision makers. Using the internet and social media to gain following towards a cause is also another way to advocate. Lastly, media advocacy means to use newspapers to relay information or act as a resource person yourself. Other intervention strategies that can be used are incentives and disincentives. Incentives and disincentives are commonly used for all of the intervention. Incentives are referred to as carrots because they are positive or desirable awards. An example of this would be a gift card for participating in a program. Disincentives are referred to as sticks because they are negative or undesirable consequences. An example of a disincentive would be a sustained increase in excise taxes. Both incentives and disincentives motivate people to get involved in the promotion program. They should also be tailored to the participants' needs. If you are going to do a program with a population that is wealthy, gift cards and monetary incentives may not be effective. We are now going to watch a 3-minute video about using incentives for worksite health programs. This video will explain when incentives are effective and when they are not effective. So as you can see, incentives can be very beneficial to health promotion programs when they are used effectively. Behavioral modification activities are used to help those in the priority population experience a change in behavior. These activities are usually used for intrapersonal level interventions because they are tailored specifically for the individual. Emphasis is usually placed on wanting to increase or decrease a health behavior. These activities are systematic and are based on stimulus response and social cognitive theories. The social cognitive theory is based on the idea that there is an interaction between the individual, their environment, and the behavior. The person changes a behavior by observing new behavioral habits and mimicking them. as well as being reinforced positively or negatively. The individual's ability and belief in their ability is essentially what drives them to achieve a behavior change. We are now going to look at an article that breaks down behavior changes into 3 main steps. The first step in the article is make it conscious. This means to analyze why and when you engage in a bad habit. The second step is to put it in writing so it really sinks in. You should keep a record of when you do a habit, what caused you to begin doing it, and what emotions surround that habit. Keeping a log usually makes you more aware of the bad habit. After you keep the log for at least a week, analyze the data and find what triggers you. The third step is called bait and switch. This means when you realize you're engaging in the bad habit, find a lesser and temporary replacement for it. Following these steps can help change a health behavior or end a negative habit. Social support is key in successful behavior change. People find it easier to make a lifestyle change when they have support or a partner in the process. There are 3 different social activities that can be used for a health promotion program. Support groups and buddy systems are well established. Examples of this include Alcoholics Anonymous or Weight Watchers. It is beneficial when people can come together to share experiences and support. Buddy systems are great because each buddy holds the other accountable for their actions. To enhance motivation, it is common for the groups to have contests or contracts. A contest is a challenge between 2 or more people. For example, there could be a contest for who can lose the most weight. A contract is an agreement between 2 or more parties. Contracts are created to avoid ambiguity within the guidelines of a program. Social gatherings bring people together who are experiencing similar problems so that they can interact. Gatherings do not help individuals deal with problems, but it helps fill the void. Social networks allow people to form relationships with others who are experiencing similar problems. Communication within social networks are wider because they can use phones, social media, or email. We are now going to do a class activity. You will be broken up into groups of 4 to 5 people. Each group will receive a handout that includes a strategy, priority population, and health behavior. Each group will list 3 SMART objectives to achieve for their desired health behavior outcome. Under each SMART objective, groups will record how they can use their assigned strategy to meet the objective. Your group will have 15 minutes to discuss and record your intervention plan. After the 15 minutes, each group will share their scenario and their intervention plan. Keep in mind the key components discussed for each intervention strategy. Thank you all for your participation today. During this lesson, we learned what an intervention is and the 6 main types of intervention strategies. We discussed what makes each intervention unique and that more than one strategy should be used to create a well-rounded program. In addition to the 6 main intervention strategies, we discussed incentives and disincentives, behavior change activities, and social activities. You should now be able to use these interventions in the future when you are planning a health promotion program. Thank you.